Hi, friends, it's Brad Brain. I want to share with you what I think is one of the dumbest expressions in the financial services industry. Buy term and invest the difference. You want to know who came up with this expression, buy term and invest the difference? It wasn't a financial planner. It was the marketing department of a life insurance company that wants to sell you more term insurance. Term insurance and permanent life insurance are different products for different problems. They are not the same thing. This would be like, let's say you had a carpenter's hammer and a sledgehammer, and you have a job that needs a sledgehammer. But instead of actually using a sledgehammer, what you do is you take that carpenter's hammer and you put an extra long handle on it. Friends, different solutions for different problems here. I'll show you what I mean by that. You want to know who buys permanent life insurance? I'll tell you who buys permanent life insurance. Wealthy people. You want to know why they buy permanent life insurance? It's not because they have a mortgage. It's because they have a tax problem. If you accumulate a significant amount of wealth, unless you do some good tax planning, what accompanies that success is taxes. And on the death of the second spouse, we can be looking at substantial taxes. So there's 4 ways, and only 4 ways, that you can deal with that final tax bill. You can start saving now, but that assumes you live long enough to accumulate enough money to pay that final tax bill. And it also takes money from what you would otherwise do with it, right? You could be using it for something else. Alternatively, perhaps your estate could borrow to pay the taxes, but that's assuming that somebody's going to give your estate a loan in the first place if you're not in the picture anymore, and there will be some interest expense along with it. Alternatively, maybe your estate can sell assets to pay the final tax bill, but that's assuming that it's assets that you don't want to keep in the family, and potentially you're looking at a sale at fire sale prices, so that's not ideal. Or the fourth way, and often this is the best way, you can channel your wealth through a permanent life insurance product. Often the preferred choice is one with cash value, a cash value permanent life insurance product, and you could end up paying pennies on the dollar. You'll get tax shelter growth, a tax-free transfer of assets to your beneficiaries. You're going to avoid probate fees. You're going to avoid the Wills Variation Act. This is a superior strategy. Now, you don't have to do anything. You could sit tight, but that doesn't mean the tax bill goes away. It just means you didn't plan for it. And that's going to be more expensive, not less. So let's talk about why you would use term insurance and why you would use permanent insurance. So right here on the screen, I have up, this is a real life survey that we did for a young fellow. He's only 24. Now this isn't, I mean, these aren't going to be your numbers and this isn't your situation. So these, don't worry so much about the absolute value of these numbers. Think about the relative value of these numbers. And the real thing I want to reinforce is that term insurance gets more expensive over time. So this first column here, this is term 10. The second column is term 20. With this particular guy, since he's young and healthy, he can get in term insurance for a ridiculously low price. He can pay $39 a month and have $1 million of term 10 insurance for the first decade. But what's going to happen in the end of the first decade is it's going to renew at $101. If we compare that to $1 million of term 20, it's only $56, and you're locked in the premiums for 20 years, and that's fantastic. The problem though is if he has a need that lasts beyond 20 years, when this thing renews, it's going to renew at $335 a month. Okay? This is why buy term and invest the difference falls apart. And it's not that term insurance is less expensive. In the early years, clearly it is. The problem is, it's why we're buying it in the first place. Because if you have a need for permanent coverage, then this illusion of cheaper premiums, there's no substance to it. Yes, you pay a little bit less at the start, but think of a staircase pattern where this gets more and more expensive over time. Okay, so for you to be able to save that little bit of money in the early years to make up for the all of the things that a permanent insurance, the math just doesn't support it. Okay, so far better if you have a permanent need for coverage, buy permanent coverage as soon as you can. If you don't have a need for permanent coverage, then buy term. It's that simple. Make sure you get a product that's consistent with your objectives. You don't need a marketing slogan. You need proper financial planning. I'm Brad Brain. If there's anything we can do for you, please let me know. Take care.